Whoa, we're back. We're live on LinkedIn, Coach's Corner, another week of living out this dream here. And I have a very special guest. You guys know who Trey is. I don't need to prop his ego any more than it already is. I'm just kidding. Trey's a really good friend of mine. For those of you who don't know Trey Griggs, he's been a really, really good friend of mine for these last couple of years. And I love what we're going to talk about today about, what he's going through right now and finally taking that leap. And I know a lot of us, and I'm saying us because I thought for the longest time I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to do my own thing. And I always had a reason to not do it. But before we jump in, before we do an official introduction, I got to give a shout out to my friends who keep the light, and that's not plural anymore, the light on here. My friends over at Bitfreighter, you guys, they're on a mission to connect the logistics industry with a flat fee for EDI messaging. Carriers and owner-operators alike, you are costing yourself business by not having a digital option to accept tenders from your customers. With the Load Accept platform, EDI is no longer an expensive and unattainable option for companies who may not have a legacy TMS to utilize for your day-to-day operations. Load Accept levels the playing field for your organization and makes you EDI compliant with your customers through automation. If your customers are requiring you to have EDI capabilities, you now have a seamless and effective tool to utilize in Load Accept. If you're ready to learn more, visit www.bitfreighter.com to request a Load Accept demo today. Do me a favor, let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Again, they are big supporters of us over here. All my sponsors are. I'm so fortunate that people believe in what I'm doing that much, where they're like, hey, we want to advertise with you. That's a whole new world that, you're going to kind of all go into. As always, drop your comments, statements, everything out there in the chat. Got our friend Rhonda out there, the best personal trainer, health coach that we know in the transportation industry. She's out here in the desert with me. But Trey, introduce yourself, man. Welcome to the Coach's Corner.
Man, we have been friends for a while, maybe against my better judgment. I don't know. It's been a long time coming. But first of all, before I say anything, is that Matt Leffler on your shirt?
Oh, you mean this?
Is that his logo?
You mean the arm? You mean the armchair attorney?
I'm jealous that I don't have one of those. Matt Leffler just had you on the show on Standing Out, man. I got to get one of those shirts, man. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
You do. Matt, send him the link though, because as a fellow person, I support small businesses. I don't take handouts. So
hey, I'll pay for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, you will.
Don't throw me under that bus. I'll gladly pay for it.
I will gladly do that.
Look at that. Matt, that's epic. I love it. All right. So quick introduction. Yeah, Trey Griggs, founder and CEO of Beta Consulting Group. And I'm very excited about that. So we're, I'm helping companies out with sales and marketing strategies, with branding, messaging, content creation, sales structure, whatever it might be. I'm also very excited to be offering MC services. I'm going to be doing some keynote speaking in organizations, and so a lot of good stuff that's happening with that. So excited to be here, man. I was thinking about when we met, and it's been, gosh, I want to say almost 2 years now, because it was at the beginning of the pandemic. It was about that time.
Yeah.
And you didn't have any of this, In fact, you were still. I remember we'd have phone calls, and you would say, "Hey, I interviewed. I'm one of the top 5 candidates. I'm just waiting to hear back." And they, it just never kind of happened. And eventually, like, screw it, I'm doing my own thing. And I just remember almost like having a tinge of jealousy and a massive amount of pride in what you were doing and your willingness to do that. So first of all, congratulations to you. And the fact you have an office now and a sign up behind you, and such a great reputation in the industry, and so many people that are following you and supporting you. Just huge kudos, my friend.
Dude, it's nuts. Nate Frazier, he's out there saying that he's much prettier than Jolly. Thank you for that.
I don't know what to tell you.
Backhanded compliment. Trey's kind of gray in the beard area though, and I'm not.
Yeah, a lot of wisdom over here. A lot of wisdom.
Oh, is that what we're calling it? And then Millie, my favorite person out of Florida. Millie, what's going on? She's in the audience today. Thank you for that support and jumping in here today. Yeah, man, it's wild. Like, when everything started, when the pandemic kind of went down, we met on the Word on the Street. You invited me out to that. We had barely had met, and you're like, hey, come do this thing. We're going to do that. So that's available every Friday. Word on the Street. You guys check it out. It's on YouTube, LinkedIn. Jump up in there as well. Be a part of that. It's a great little community Trey's got going over there. But yeah, man, that's where we met. And it was right at, like, I was out of a job. I didn't know what I was going to do.
You were slinging pizzas, man. I remember that.
I was.
At night.
Unapologetically, man, I'll do whatever it takes to support my family. And, it was, I started doing my thing in 2020. And yeah, man, revenue doesn't just magically appear when I think like all the Instagram entrepreneurs that are out there, they like to, you know, playing it off as some glamorous thing. And it's like revenue just doesn't appear, you know, and I'm from a working class blue collar family, man. Like I've had a job legally. I've had a job since I was 12. I've been working since I was fucking born essentially, but it, you know, so you got to do what you got to do. Like I lived in Arizona for 3 months. Like we had literally just relocated down to Phoenix, and within 3 months, the pandemic hits, and then I'm fucking out of a job. And I'm like, you know, fortunately, we were in a position to where like we weren't going to go homeless, but I needed to work. I needed to provide for my family, and I'll literally do whatever it takes to make sure my kid doesn't go hungry. But yeah, man, that's what was going on. And it probably was about a year. It was about a year before like I felt like, okay, I like you could say I made money because like I stopped having to dip into my savings account to like cover stuff and everything else. I had revenue coming in to cover it, you know, and it took a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, but damn, man, is it rewarding to see where it's at right now? Like I'm super happy. Like obviously I'm not satisfied. Like I'm not stopping. I'm not like fucking off the gas or anything like that. But yeah, man, it's been a wild journey. And this is what I'm excited about for you to jump on, man. Like cause like, you know, it's some people go out on their own because they don't have a choice. And some people are like, you know, they're waiting for that moment. And then that moment sometimes never comes, but like, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off. And like, what was it for you, man? Like, what was it that you were finally like, all right, I got to go for it. Cause if I don't do it now, I'm never going to.
Yeah, it's a great question, and like, yeah, Brent Arsuga, our good friend, he says
Mhm.
sometimes the market forces you into situations, and sometimes you have to choose to put yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a good way to think about entrepreneurship and kind of the craziness that goes on with that, or the what it takes to do that. Honestly, my journey has been a long journey. I look back over my life, I look at some of the breadcrumbs in my life, and I've had this entrepreneur spirit for a long time, a creative spirit, you know, wanting to create something, wanting to build something. I love building something it's important or significant. That's always been a trademark of my life. Whether when I was a school teacher, when I was a physics teacher, I wanted to have the biggest physics program possible. I had 60 students when I left, only 12 when I started. I built that program. Like that was kind of an example of that. Even as a school
Yeah.
teacher, when I was a youth pastor, same thing. I wanted to, you know, have a great youth program with great kids, and it's just been a hallmark. And so the entrepreneur side has been there, but what hasn't been there was the courage, because it's scary. I mean, let's just
Fuck
be
yeah, it
honest.
is.
It's scary, right? It's not something that you just do on a whim. And especially in my situation, because, you know, I've had the good fortune over the last 14 years. My wife has been a stay-at-home mom. She retired in '08. That's what she wanted to do. And I've been able to provide. And
Mhm.
it's been a crazy journey, but I've always been able to provide, and we've had the life that we wanted. Excuse me. But I always I hid behind that. So I would say to people who would say, "Hey, why don't you do your own thing?" Or I'd tell people my dream, my vision, because I'm somebody that communicates. I'll talk. I'll tell you
Mhm.
what I'm thinking or my vision. But I always hid behind my family because I'm the provider. I have to have a job. I have to have a steady
Yeah.
paycheck. I need an income, those types of things. And what really did it for me, because like the last 4 years in particular, I've thought about it a lot. You know, I've
Yeah.
had a couple of different jobs, opportunities. I'll talk a little bit more in detail about that, but I've had that opportunity a lot. But in the fall of 2021, about 5 months ago, at some point, my wife came up and said, "You know, I think it's time for you to do your own thing." And that was, you know, that was my one excuse, was my wife, you know, maybe
Yeah.
not being supportive, or I just assumed maybe she wouldn't be supportive, or that I got to provide because it can be scary. And when she said that, it really took that excuse off the table. And I had to start thinking about it. And what's been really great about that journey is, you know, 2 years ago, for some of the people who might follow me on LinkedIn, 2 years ago, I did go out on my own for a while, and just kind of tested the waters a little bit, but then just had a phenomenal opportunity to go work over at Lean and learn some things. Being at Lean was an incredible opportunity. I still love those guys, and do a lot of work with them still, some brand ambassador work, and spend some time with them. So that opportunity was one I couldn't pass up. I learned probably more in that opportunity than I've ever learned in my professional career. But I almost went out on my own fully in 2019. And so this is something I've been thinking about for a long time. So
Yeah.
the time was right, you know, and I need to do it. And with my wife's support, I think that for me, that really did that, because the courage and the confidence was my struggle for a long time. And I'm hopeful that there are some future entrepreneurs that are watching this who can relate to that. You know, there's the
Yeah.
scariness of it, the unsure of, you know, the unknown, what's going to come about, not knowing necessarily where the next paycheck is going to come from, not sure how you're going to generate revenue. Because I guarantee when you put yourself in that position as I am now, you figure it out pretty quick. You know, if you're an entrepreneur, you start thinking about, okay, what could I do? What service could I provide? What product could I make? Who could I sell this to? How can I get the word out? Like you start, those creative juices really start flowing. And so that's been the transition and the journey for me into entrepreneurship. It's something I've thought about for a long time. And with the support of my wife and just having enough courage to just throw myself in the ring, that's where we're at, which is very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of people who are jumping out on their own, Lauren Began, our mutual friends in the comments right now. Lauren, what's going on? Tim Wells, he's in there as well. Tim, I appreciate your support very much, man. Rhonda's just all over. Your relationship with your wife is a testimony to how you do everything. I got to put this up there. That's very true. Rhonda's great. She's phenomenal. She's
amazing. If you don't know Rhonda,
yeah,
you need to follow Rhonda. You need to
hands down. I'm gonna. I was Rhonda Bompensa Zimmerman. Bompensa Zimmerman. Check her out on LinkedIn. Follow her. Doctor. Sorry.
Don't.
I don't have any special letters behind my name. It's just the freight coach, and that's
she worked hard for that. She earned it.
I know she did. She definitely did. But no, man. Like I think that's what the fear of the unknown is. What debilitates people from doing it. And you know, there's just something like I think that you truly find out what you're made of. And I like if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, don't. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't want, if you know, like, because you know, there's a big thing. Like, you can go work for somebody and be an intrapreneur. That's a term that's being thrown out there a lot right now because it's not for everybody. It's been glamorized, and I thought that for the longest time that I couldn't do that. That I shouldn't do that. That I had to play it safe and everything else. But man, if there's anything that these last 2 years that taught me, what the fuck is safe anymore? You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing safe about working for anybody. There's nothing safe about working on your own. I would just rather bet on myself than anybody else. That's what it boils down to for me. And I think that's the journey of how I've grown as a person overall over this time, Trey. That's what I enjoy, I think, the most out of everything, because like, man, I was the biggest victim out there prior to this. And what I mean by that is like, dude, it was always everybody else's fault. It was like, I lacked accountability for a very long time. Like, yeah, I worked hard. I was successful in my job, but man, I was fucking a drunk, dude. I drank all the time. I was fat as fuck. I
remember when you quit drinking. I remember that. Well, that was a big deal,
I don't drink as much as I used to, but I did quit for like,
you took a time where you just,
I took almost a year off, man, because I knew when I started, it was probably those first 2 months. I caught myself one day, man. I'm like, why the fuck am I drinking right now? Like, things went good, but that doesn't give me anything. Like, and I'm like, I knew that if I didn't get that under control, that, because the highs are very high and the lows are very fucking low. And I didn't want to fall into those demons that I face. And, it's like, I'm very aware of that now. And I try my absolute best to not really drink much at all. If I do, it's going to be on a Friday night when I'm at my house with my wife. That's when I'll have something. I don't really do that lifestyle anymore, man. But like it overcame. It took a lot, and then but like that's the thing though. Is it's like, dude, now what's crazy is like when you're in business for yourself, like legitimately, even if you have a product that you sell, you are the product. You know what I mean? And it's like, when it comes to your health and your diet and everything else, everything's connected. You know what I mean? And 100%. It's like, you can't 100%. Be sluggish in your approach. And then like, what, you're going to turn away business because you got drunk the night before and you're fucking hungover? You're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, take control of what you can control. And, that was one thing that I just knew I needed to eliminate and get in order, because otherwise, man, I've struggled with it for a while. I never admitted it, but I struggled with it for a while, and I knew that I had to shelve it to get it under control, to focus on what's really important. What's really important is building this up, starting from my bedroom, into where I'm at now in 2 years, bro. Like, it's wild what you can do when you focus solely on something. If you want to change, you'll really change. Like, this might sound harsh, but like nobody gives a fuck about you that much that's going to stop you from making changes. If you want to make changes, you got to eliminate that excuse from your head, hands down.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I want to go back to something you said earlier. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. It's okay to not be an entrepreneur. I think the biggest thing is just knowing who you are, becoming self-aware of who you are as a person. If you're a creator, the worst thing you can do is to not have an outlet to create, to not have an outlet for your ideas to come out. and not everybody is a creator, and that's okay. Some people are more program oriented or process oriented, or just different ways. We all have different skills and different gifts that we can contribute. But knowing yourself, as William Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true. To know yourself is so important. And I just talked about this with Matt Leffler on my daily podcast, Standing Out, before the show. Matt Leffler. What's up, Matt Leffler? Right there. There he is. But we spoke on the just earlier on Standing Out about fear and how it is crippling, how it paralyzes you from trying because you're afraid of like failure. You're afraid of the unknown, and it's paralyzing. And so the more that you can not necessarily eliminate fear, but what I would say is acknowledge fear. Fear's not going to go away. That's a part of our brain. It's a part of our work. It actually is a positive function, because there are times when you do need to be afraid. There's a train barreling down the tracks and you're on it. You should be afraid, right? And you should make a choice accordingly. So it's not that fear is a bad thing. It's bringing fear under control. It's acknowledging when you're afraid and saying, what am I afraid of? And is it worth pushing past this? So if it's a fear of failure for just trying something new, what's the worst thing that can happen, right? I mean, nobody watches this show. We know that's not true. So people are, but I'm starting a new podcast. Nobody watches it. Like, that's got to be the worst thing that happens, right? So it's not that bad. And I think the more that you process the fear, the easier it is to act through it. And I heard this one time. This is good for working out. This is good for a lot of things in life. I heard this one time that made a ton of sense. And it said, it's easier to act your way into feeling than to feel your way into action. Meaning, if you just make the choice to act, the feelings will follow. Like going to the gym. It's much easier just to go to the gym than to go when you feel like you want to go to the gym. You just go. You act your way into feeling more than feeling your way into action. And I think that's true in this. And it's true when you think about trying anything new. And it's true when you're feeling that fear of failure or fear of whatever, to process through it. Acknowledge it, process through it, and then you can move forward.
Yeah. No, and I think that, man, I want to say it is, it was early on, when shit just wasn't really transpiring or anything like that. And, I remember, man, I finally got like a big client who's like, yeah, we're going to pay you a lot of money to come, talk to our sales reps and everything else. I'm like, fuck yeah.
I remember
and then,
that.
like,
I remember that.
My internet crashed. Like, straight up, man. My internet crashed in my building. It was like an hour before it started. I'm like fucking looking for co-work spaces. I'm like, where the fuck? Like, how am I going to do this? I can't not do
Can
this.
Do it from Starbucks. Where am I going to go?
Dude, that was it, man. It was like, I thought it was going to end. I'm like, fuck, I'm done. If this doesn't work out, I'm over, And when you have
funny
those,
to look back on that now, isn't it?
Dude, I know. But that's the thing, is it's like when those things happened initially, and again, to kind of tie it in, like, shit's always going to go wrong. It's not that you just learn to deal with it. Like, you learn, like, you're never going to get to a point in business or in life where like everything's perfect. Perfection doesn't exist.
No.
And I think that you grow in that time to the point where you're like, all right, I know how to navigate through this more efficiently. Like, yeah, it still sucks. Like, there's shit that happens all the time. I'm like, fuck, that really sucks. But it's like, all right, well, I can't focus on that. I got to execute. I gotta adapt and move and move on, and
Listen,
that's
man,
what
I've recorded podcasts from Starbucks parking lots. No joke. Like, I've done that because, like, word on the street, we travel a lot. And I remember one time we're on the RV trip last summer or 2 summers ago. You might remember this. We didn't have Wi-Fi at the RV park, and my phone signal was not good enough. I'm like scrambling, like, where's the nearest Starbucks? I literally get to Starbucks and I'm in my car and I'm typing in, just trying to get on the Wi-Fi network to see if it'll work. And then I ran over and grabbed the table that was outside. And you just do what you got to do, right? You do what you have to do. You accommodate. You figure it out. And the truth is, you're going to know your mistakes more than anybody else will ever know them. You're going to be more nitpicking, and you'll see them more than anybody else will. In fact, most of the time they won't. Here's a great example. This past 2 weekends ago, we had the Lean Mastermind event out in Vegas, and it was a bigger production this year. I was emceeing the event, and I was working with the audio team and all that. We had a debriefing meeting after the event, like a week and a half, 2 weeks after the event, where those of us who were part of the planning, there were like 5 of us who were really part of the planning team to put this together. We sat down for 2 hours and we listed everything that we felt went wrong that we can improve upon. But I guarantee you, most people probably didn't know those things. They probably didn't even see them. They probably didn't feel them, maybe a couple things, but not really. But you're always going to be more critical than the people around you. And so don't worry about it. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Absolutely. Like, and that's the beauty of like being in the digital world that we're in. Here's a good side to social media and everything else is I have receipts of all my content. And my first videos were terrible. They're absolutely terrible. I'm shit, man. I'm sure somebody's
I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah, no, it's fine. They were. I'll admit it. You know, again, I'm your own biggest critic. You know, but the thing
my first videos were just selfies on escalators and airports. I mean, just you whatever comes to mind, put it out.
You know, you got to start, and you know, like at the end of the day, like you're talking about, man, nobody will notice the shit that you notice. You know, and that's that fear of the unknown is what stops people. And it's like nobody notices. All right, nobody notices if your hair's not right or if you fuck up and you know, you repeat yourself. I literally lose my train of thought in most videos that I do.
It happens.
You know, like seriously, I do.
Especially when you're live or all the time.
Exactly. That's why it's like no double takes, man. It's just roll. Who cares? You know, like it's not. Oh, go ahead.
So let me say something about this because I think it's important. So Lauren actually pointed out, you know, there's the quote that we put right there that you put on the screen. So this is important. It's true that you'll notice the mistakes more than anybody else will, but then it's also true that you need to process those mistakes in a healthy way.
Yeah.
So you need to recognize those mistakes as opportunities to improve and then move on. The most successful people that I know of in life, and a lot of them are athletes because they're performing on a nonstop basis, they have short memories. You know, they understand where they made a mistake. They think about what they want to do to fix it and they move on. Right. And that's what you have to do is just know people are going to see your mistakes. You're going to see them. And then what do you do with them? Process them, improve, and then let them go. Move on. So.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus, man, that's exactly it. You like shit happens, you know, like there's any one of us can. And again, I'll use myself as an example here. I had every reason to eat like shit. I had every fucking excuse in the book to drink and do all that stupid shit. And again, like, fuck, if you want to do your thing, live your life. Like, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, but I am here to talk to you about that. You are a bigger contributing factor to what you're not achieving in life than you think. And it takes a lot to overcome that. It takes a lot, but you can fucking do it. And that's, you know, one thing is it's like stopping. And, you know, again, it's like people are debilitated by, oh, I want to be perfect. Perfection will never exist. Get that out of your head. Stop being scared and just go for it. Like rip the Band-Aid off. I mean, dude, I remember us talking plain and simple, dude. It was one of our conversations. Like, bro, you just got to fucking rip the Band-Aid off and go for it. Like hands down, you have to stop talking and you have to fucking do it.
Because I do. I talk a lot, right? Because I think a lot, I talk a lot, and you're like, dude, you got to just do something, man. You got to do it. So, no, it's Ron remembers that Starbucks podcast episode, and you know, it does. Word on the street is an example of that. I mean, if you go back to the original Word on the Streets, it's just Zoom calls like 30 people. It was mass chaos, and now it's a little bit more refined. But it takes a while to figure it all out. You know, just got to give yourself, I think, the liberty and the freedom to figure it out. You know, give yourself some space to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's the thing is it's like, here's one thing that is very true. You'll never get judged by somebody who's doing more than you. All right. That's something that I literally live by is, you know, cause again, I could respond to the messages that I get. And I don't get a lot of hate. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I'm sitting down here saying that I have haters, but some people love to point out the fact that I wear a backwards hat on my videos and they think it's ridiculous. And I like, you know, there's a lot of shit that people are going to come at.
That's your trademark, man. That's like who you are.
Fucking right it is, dude.
That's
and here's the thing, man. Trey, and I know I've told if you judge me by what I wear, where I live, and what I drive, I already don't like you. So you can have your fucking opinion. You know?
Do you remember? Okay, we have to go back to this. I love when you started wearing the hat backwards. I love that. And I remember when you like we came up with this together. You got to give me a little credit. The freight coach.
Did we?
I love that, dude. We did, man, because you had it up there, and I'm like, you got to point to it. I want just a half credit for that, just a half credit. But that's you, man. That's who you are. And now when people see you without the hat, okay, I'll take 1%. But you without the hat is not Chris Jolly, in my opinion. Like when I think Chris Jolly, I think of the trucker hat backwards. You know, and that's your brand, right? You've created that. That's your brand.
Dude, absolutely. And I have a pristine head of hair too, man. Like it's salon quality. I
don't know about that.
What do you mean? Do you this wavy curly hair, man? Dude.
Can you do this? You can't do
money.
This. You can't do this.
Yeah, 2002 could do that, Trey, and it's kind of fucking left at that time.
So true. So true. It's
all right. Man. I know.
It's coming back though, like everything else, it's coming back.
I will hold on. Hold on. That's a hat. There we go. That's funny, Tim. No, it's just balding. Yeah, the only thing that's changed is my hairline's kind of fucking went back up a little bit higher than I'd like to. But
yeah, this is my dad's hairline right here. Yep, right there. I got that from Glenn Wilson Griggs Jr. Yep.
So, dude, okay. So we're on this new venture. What's one thing, like right now, like, yeah, it's very fucking fresh, so there's a lot of emotions that are going on. There's a lot of excitement that's happening. And what is something that you want to say? Okay, come on, Tim Wells. That is not a mullet.
There was though, Tim. I'm sure that one point there was.
Okay. I got to find the picture, but I had a blonde afro in high school. Like I had a legit
picture of that.
Like my hair is curly. Yeah. And I dyed it blonde because that's what you do at 16. You bleach blonde.
Exactly. You just spray it because
it's cool.
Hydrogen peroxide. That's what you do right there.
Yeah. God damn it. Now I lost my train of thought. The mullet thing got me, man.
You were asking about what I'm doing, the emotions.
Yeah. So it's early on. It's very exciting and everything else. How are you staying focused? Because like, that's one of my big things. Like I literally just put out a post about it today about building a process and a structure to follow, because like, I have shiny ball syndrome, man. Fucking, you name it. My attention goes everywhere. How do you, dealing with all the excitement and everything else, how do you stay focused?
Well, I think, and of course, Matt loves this shirt. Good to see you, Matt. Thanks for joining, bud. Twice in one day. I'm a lucky man. But how to stay focused? That's a good question for people who are creative. Okay, quit showing off the shirt. Matt, send me the link. I'm going to buy one. Put the link in the chat, Matt. Put the link in the chat. So everybody can buy one. We can all
I got a shirt and a coffee mug. It was like $50 with shipping. So just throw it out there. Support small businesses.
Throw that in there. We'll all pick one up. But yeah, how do you stay focused? Because as a creator, you kind of you just keep thinking about new things. And sometimes, like I have a bad habit of being a great starter, not a great finisher. For example, I've started books and then not finished them. I've had 3 books going at one time and not finished one of them. I'd start a house project and I'd get 80% through, and then I'd start thinking about the next house project before I finish that one. So I think for me right now, the biggest thing I'm focusing on is becoming a finisher, really finishing whatever idea I'm on right away. That's number one. Number 2 is I'm trying to be sensitive to the fact that I don't know what my clients want. I think sometimes as a creator, you tend to think, well, I know what needs to be created, almost that Apple syndrome. Now, Apple's a unique case because like Steve Jobs did know what we wanted before we knew. Like that's a pretty unique skill, but that's not necessarily what everybody can do. And so even though I have a feeling of some of the services that I can offer that are going to be a hit with clients out there, I may be wrong, right? So I'm trying to be sensitive to what clients are asking of me and what their problems are, while still being true to what I want to put out in the marketplace, things that I think are valuable. So it's making sure that I stay kind of balanced with that, with not being too much on I know what's best and not too much on only listening to the customer, but kind of merging those two together. Because if you only listen to customers, I think sometimes it can stifle your creative juices. And if you only listen to yourself, then you're going to miss out on customers who actually provide the revenue. So to me, it's a balance of those two things of trying to figure that out. And then as far as just staying on track, I mean, it comes down to I need to acquire new clients. And I need to then perform at a high level for those clients. And I tell every client this: when a client starts with me, I say, hey, my goal is that you're going to give me a 5-star review on Google. And if I'm not giving you that type of service at any point, you're welcome to tell me I'm not, because that's what I want. And so that holds me accountable. That lets them know what I plan to do. And I've got to come through on that. And if I come through in that regard, then they're going to want to continue to work with me. They're going to start maybe telling other people about me, and it's going to go. So I think those are probably the 3 things that I'm focused on right now. And so far, it's been good.
No, it's great. I mean, again, it's like that raw feedback for people to hear. And again, it's like not trying to doctor up what you're actually going through in the moment and trying to make it be perfect. Again,
I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit that. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm learning.
Still don't.
Right? I'm learning. I'm open to like learning new things. I've learned. I mean, as an entrepreneur, especially a first-time entrepreneur, man, you are constantly learning, like drinking from a fire hose. And I hate to be cliche-ish about this, but it really is. I mean, you're constantly having to learn something that you're hoping will enhance your business, your offering. I mean, I had to learn accounting. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a numbers guy. And I'm not, wanting to spend a lot of time doing that. But it's really important that my books are good. And so I have a CPA now. I took him to lunch. I asked a ton of questions. I listened. I met with his assistant. We went over how to set up QuickBooks and how to get it to where they want it. Because if they're going to be doing my taxes, I want to do it in a way that makes sense for them and saves everybody time. So get that right from the very beginning. So I took like a week and just learned accounting. And I mean, I don't want to, I never want to, God bless all the accountants out there. Thank you so much for being an accountant. I don't want to do that, but I needed to learn so that I can work with my accountant in a more effective way. And so it's constantly just learning and hoping that what you're learning is going to make you better. You know, being open to new technologies, being open to what you're hearing out there in the marketplace, or what other people like you are using. If you're using a service, I need to look at it because we do a lot of the same things, right? So just trying to figure it out. But I mean, let's be honest, I don't know what I'm doing, you know. And anybody who says they does is probably not telling you the
They're
truth.
lying.
I mean, everybody's trying to figure stuff out.
I have an idea, you know, like I have a framework of what I'm going to follow, but like shit happens, especially when you're a one person organization. That is, you know, it's the reason why I don't, you know, like I don't have a team. I'm going to be expanding. I will have a team probably this year. Anybody out there who's really, really good at video editing and everything else, holler at your boy. We can have a conversation.
At your boys. Maybe we could team up on that.
But it's, yeah, man. But that's the thing is it's like, you gotta, you know, from like a streamlining operation. So it's like, you know, I was just talking to a friend the other day who was like, hey, I want to start a business. And I'm like, all right, so here's what you're going to do. If you're going to file your LLC, then you're going to go open up a business bank account. You're going to open and try and get a business credit card because you need to establish that right away. Don't wait. Because like, I think that, you know, that you got to have the blurred lines and everything else. I'm like, if I could go back and do it all over, I would have done that day one. I wouldn't have waited about a year and a half before I had a business bank account like 5 months in, but like, there's a big difference between personal credit and business credit, you know? And it's like, dude, my credit score is like borderline pristine. And when I applied for one for my business, it was, we got to review this shit. And I'm like, well, wait a second, you know, I bank with you, you know, but again, it's those situations. It's like with accounting. How do I streamline this? How do I make sure I'm fucking doing this right? Because Uncle Sam does not give a shit that you didn't know how to do your taxes. They're still going to fucking collect their money, you know? And it's like getting efficient in that.
And how many companies pay too much in taxes because they don't know, just don't take the time to learn about accounting or learn just a little bit about taxes and the benefits of, you know, having an LLC or, you know, having a company that are out there. You know, I mean, there are significant benefits to it. So again, just all those little education pieces are really critical, but it's a lot of learning.
Yeah.
No doubt.
My CPA's gangster, straight up, dude. His name's Joe Harding out here in Phoenix. For anybody who's watching this in the Phoenix market, talk to Joe Harding if you need a CPA. That guy has explained him because again, it's like, dude, I only know what
Are we giving shout outs to our CPAs? I mean, if you're in St. Louis, you should reach out to Mark Horst. Like, let's go.
No.
I mean, he's
Mark Horst.
list.
I will take a 1% commission for Mark Horst, 1%. I'm kidding. But no, man, like that's the thing is it's like he taught me about, because I was just a single member LLC. He taught me about transitioning my business into an S corp, drawing a salary, and the tax benefits that come along of doing that alone.
And a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, I had no fucking clue about that, you know? And again, I always thought, I'm like, oh, I'm a one-person operation. But he's like, you know, he explained to me, all the tax benefits of it and everything else. And it's also one of those things of like, hey, we got to make your money work for your business now. It's not as simple. Because like, again, dude, I was an employee for the longest time. So I got a W-2. I filed my taxes. I thought everything was gravy. That's just not the way that it works when you own your own thing. So he explained to me the tax benefits of an LLC and an S corp. And then he also explained to me about, you know, because like obviously I need health insurance. I want to do a 401k. When I hire people, I have to offer that. Or else who the hell is going to work for me? And then it's building that out from a organizational structure. And then from there, that transitions into how are you going to build out your company next? Now, like it frees up a lot of your resources. So if you're in that position right now, where you're like, hey, I want to hire somebody, I'm a single member LLC, look into the S corp option because you'll save in taxes on that. Again, I'm not a tax expert. Don't quote me. This isn't legal advice. There's your disclaimer, but look into that information to see, because it's like that money that you're putting aside right now for your taxes, that might not be as big of a dip into that, where you can actually like, holy shit, I got money to cover a salary for 6 months or something like that. And then you can expand with that.
Exactly. No, just knowing the tax code or just a little bit about it, just knowing about accounting allows you to make those decisions that are in the best interest, because it might be better to stay a single member LLC. And there might be times where it's better to go S corp. And I learned this, I don't have to make that decision today. As I start in 2021, or 2022, I can make that decision in December, depending on how the year goes. So, they're just knowing that actually took a little pressure off where, cause I don't know. I'm not sure if I should stay a single member LLC, or if I should go S corp. Anyways, there's probably a lot of stuff people don't want to hear on this. By the way, shout out to Jennifer Gumasada, St. Louis, representing West County, or actually you might be in Franklin County. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyways, yeah. So represent St. Louis. Thanks for joining the show. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's Trey show. Is he calling out people?
Hey,
I'm kidding. Yeah. Jonathan Dunway, he's in the comments. What's up, brother? Yeah, no, but it's very true though. But again, though, Trey, like this is the real journey of what you're going to face out there. And like there's very few people that I found that are like willing to put a lot of this information out there that's not behind a paywall, and that's the realities of what you're going to face. Again, it's like I'm coming up, it'll be 2 years in business here next month for me. And it's like, if I could go back and redo it, I would have looked at that from a completely different structure. Brad Reinhardt, dude, if you're not connected with
Brad, what's up, brother?
Okay, thank God you do. Brad is
I haven't seen Brad in a while.
LTNA, logistics and you guys, if you're not members of the LTNA, join it. It is a phenomenal time. Brad Reinhardt is the man. Nice. We had a blast out in Austin, Texas last year. It's going to be out in San Diego this year for that annual conference. But yeah,
Brad, let's connect soon, man. I haven't seen Brad in a while. We need to connect. Let's get some lunch, man. Let's get some sushi or something soon. Reach out to me.
But again, it's like this is like looking back on it, like this is what you're going to be faced with. Because again, it's like if you want to expand, you're like, dude, I finally got to a point this year where it's like I got some guaranteed revenue coming in, so I was able to upgrade. I was able to get the fucking neon and the new camera.
Man, you're all professional, man. I mean, look, man, need a backdrop or something. Look at you go, bro.
Yeah, dude. In 2 years or less, you're going to be able to do that, man. You got it. Like I wasn't aware of how I should structure my revenue. I wasn't aware of how to properly actually execute upon a lot of that stuff. I didn't know, man. And again, like you can Google it, but is it real? Fuck, I don't know. I'd rather listen to people who are in the heat of it and talk about that stuff.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And having a great network makes a huge difference as well. Watching your journey, getting to see what you've done and what others who have kind of done their own thing, how they're working with Cassandra, what she did, and Blythe, and some of our friends in the industry.
Cassandra Carrier, sure, she just started that. That's out there right
Very
now.
Cool.
Check that out right now. Cool. All of you brokers out there, check out Carrier or sure. Cassandra Gaines, it's out there. Fucking check them out. She's got a great product.
Yeah, without a doubt. So no, it's exciting, man. And it's good to be amongst great people and to have a great network. And so it's fun, man. And I like sharing what I'm learning because, man, it's like, if it's something that's helpful to me, it's probably helpful to somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's share it. Let's share the content.
And that's what you'll find, man. Like, again, I remember early on sending out, the solicitation emails and everything else. And it was funny. Every founder of the companies that I reached out to responded to me. Every single one of them. It might not have been right away, but every single one of them reached out to me. And even if they weren't interested in my services, but they're like, I want to set up a time to talk to you. And they share those little tidbits, those little words of encouragement because they've been there. And you'll find that in the community, for the overwhelming majority of people are going to be very supportive. And it's amazing what they will do if you just ask, like, hey, I just need a little bit of help. I mean, dude, we're going to be with Brent Orsuga out there at the TIA conference. TIA conference is in San Diego, April 6th.
It's going to be awesome.
Check it out.
Register.
Go out there. Yes, register.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And by the way, let me just say real quick, if you do register for TIA, don't leave early because the final session is going to be amazing. It's going to be Chris and Brent and I. We're talking about some great stuff for elevating the business in 2022 and beyond. So make sure you
definitely. But Brent was a huge mentor for me, or he still is, man. He's a huge mentor for me early on to talk about all of that stuff that was going on. And I'm forever grateful for that, like him. And then, I got to give a shout out
for me and whoever else. Keep going.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to, Kevin Nolan with Nolan Transport Group, bro. Like I never talked to him one time and I sent him a message and he literally gave me 30 minutes of his time. I mean, Kevin Nolan is fucking big deal in this industry. He's created some pretty big things and he took 30 minutes of his time to just talk to me. That fucking meant the world.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like door-to-door sales. You can always tell when somebody's done door-to-door sales. I mean, because it's a fraternity, right? I mean, when somebody comes to my door to sell me something, I'm going to listen. I'm going to give them a chance because, there were people out there that gave me a chance when I was slinging paper and toner out in Portland, Oregon. My first job, door to door.
Do you still have bad?
No.
It's fucking hanging up on the wall
I
next to your car.
don't. No, in fact, we didn't have a bag. We had a catalog. It was Quill Office Supplies. I had a catalog that we carry around.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a bag, but I had a catalog. No, I don't have that anymore. But it's interesting when somebody comes to my door. I have so much respect for the fact that they'd be willing to knock on the door and pitch me something. So I'm going to listen. I'm going to give them a shot. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to buy it. And I might even say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be a good candidate for you. I loved how you did this, though. But, man, go get them. Keep knocking on doors. Keep it up. I'm going to encourage them, even if I don't buy. Because, again, it's like what it's like to walk in those steps. Kevin Nolan knows what it's like to walk in your steps. And so I love it when, especially when founders are willing to give of their time and recognize, what you're going through, what I'm going through, the journey that we're taking.
I think it's, because that's what it is, man, is that it's those little conversations what keeps you going.
Mm-hmm.
And, on top of that, I know you share the same beliefs that I do, man. We're both men of faith, even though I swear a lot. I swear to God, I shouldn't say that. But, that's the thing, man. I am, man. I'm truly a man of faith. And in the dark, like some of those darkest times during all of this, it was that my relationship with God that kept me pushing. It's that eerie calmness, it's that eerie calmness that comes through like, hey, this is going to be okay. Keep going. I can't explain it. It's surreal in a sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's great to have those people. And by the way, shout out to Doug Clark, mentor of mine down in Dallas, Texas. He was a consultant I met 2.5 years ago that has constantly encouraged me. And that's the thing too, is I think it's really important to have the right people on your team and in your corner. Have your encouragers, have the people that will challenge you, have the people that will, support you and will be there in the good and the bad times. Like having that team around you is so critical. Doug Clark is one of those members of the team. You're one of those guys on the team as well. We spoke yesterday. I mean, you remember this yesterday. We spoke and you're like, man, you need to think about this, don't do that. And I appreciate the fact that you're not just a yes man. Like you're just not there just to say, yeah, keep going, but you're actually challenging me. Having the right people on your team makes all the difference in the world, And so and that goes for anybody. That's not just entrepreneurs. That's anybody. You get the right people on your team. It's going to make a big difference in your life.
Yeah. I also like it to me, to put it bluntly, if you want negativity, you can find a lot of fucking negativity, but if you want positivity, if you want somebody who's going to keep it real with you, you'll find them as well. You'll attract that, just don't fall into that trap of, cause like, again, man, I could go on and on and on about fucking everything that goes wrong and everything else. And, I just don't want to take that, cause it's like, dude, I know people say this all the time, man. It's like literally nothing, like 5 minutes from now isn't guaranteed. Fucking, I could drop dead in 5 seconds. I don't know. I would just rather go after what I want in life. I encourage people to go after happiness over everything, because here's the thing. Money is always a big thing. That's what stops people from going. I can say for 1000% certainty, I will always make money. No matter what, I will make money. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid to work. It might not be in a capacity that some people think is acceptable. But again, I don't give a fuck what you think if I have to work at McDonald's to feed my family. Like I will always make money. And when you can remove that burden from your head, but again, it's like you'll never, once you start and you forge forward, you never go back to zero of where you were when you first started. Now I feel like, fuck, man, I'm miles ahead of where I was 2 years ago. And then in 2 years from now, I'm going to be fucking miles ahead of where I am right now.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Hey, by the way, speaking of people making money and door-to-door sales, the Girl Scouts are killing me this year. Dude, I don't know if my house got marked.
I feel terrible.
But I've had 4 Girl Scouts, separate Girl Scouts come to my doors, and like, what are you going to say? No? I mean, I've got so many Girl Scout cookies coming. Oh, it's crazy. They're raking it in this year.
I'm a sucker for them. They're tech savvy this year now. They got fucking card readers.
What's your cookie of choice? What's your Girl Scout cookie choice?
Ooh, it's tough, man. I go back and forth between the Samoas and Thin Mints, because frozen Thin Mints for my inner fat kid, you got me going.
That's literally the right answer. I mean, there's no other answer than Thin Mints on Girl Scout cookies. I mean, the Samoas are good. I've heard cases for tagalongs; those are good as well. But you get a Thin Mint frozen. I mean, what else is there in life? Especially they're going to deliver them now, and it's going to start to warm up. Put those babies in the freezer, and like a hot July day, pull out. Oh, I eat those things by the sleeve. It's not good.
You can get.
Sorry,
those
Rhonda. I'll run. I'll do my work, but I eat those things by the
crushing up them on top of like vanilla ice cream. and just making your own. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or making a shake with them. So dude, make it like a chocolate shake, throw some cookies in there, and
Yeah.
okay.
This is
Must be lunchtime.
yeah.
I'm hungry.
This
All right,
is
moving
yeah.
on.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Moving
fuck,
on.
man, that's pretty, dude. Here's the thing. Like, I appreciate you coming on and being transparent about what it is that you're going through and what you're going to experience and everything else. And, because like, that's the thing is it's like, I think that when you're out there and you're trying to build a brand or you're trying to build a business and, everybody, I know the word authenticity is fucking thrown out there. You got to be authentic, you got to stop trying to be authentic though, and actually live true to yourself. And, like, yeah, I get it. You could pick apart the fact that I say fuck a lot, you know what? But that's who I am.
So you are.
And I just want people to realize that you do not have to be scared of the reflection in the mirror. I was terrified of that, what I saw for a very fucking long time, every time I looked in the mirror. And I accepted the fact that I was the one who was causing it. All right. Again, I was the one who was causing myself to be overweight, drink too much, and do all of that shit. Nobody else is forcing that shit down my throat. It's a battle that we're all going to be faced with day in and day out. And I promise you, yes, it is fucking hard right away. And it sucks going to the gym and 4 a.m. when my bed's nice and cozy, but I fucking do it. I do it because I had to build my own structure. I can't wait. You know what I mean? Like, I got to get up. I got to go. I got to get it out of the way, because at least then I know, like,
that's who you are. Right. I mean, think about how different you and I are. I mean, when you really think about this, I don't say cuss words. This is not who I am. Right. I don't drink alcohol. That's not who I am. I don't go to the gym at 4 a.m. I'm sleeping at 4 a.m. I mean, I don't wake up until 6:30, 7 o'clock every day. I sleep 8 hours a day. Like, we're totally different. But the cool thing is that, like, you appreciate who I am and I appreciate who you are. That's why Word on the Street has been such a hit, is that we just accept each other. It's such a cool community and environment. And I think that's the thing. You got to be comfortable with being who you are. And don't worry about what anybody else thinks about it. Like, I don't care if I go to a trade show and I don't drink, and I don't care what people think about that. And nobody even cares, really. I mean, yeah, I'd probably be more concerned than people are. Nobody cares I don't drink at a trade show, right? It doesn't matter. Like, just be who you are, be authentic, as I'm gonna throw that word out, be transparent, which is one of our core values of Beta Consulting Group. That's one of the things that we want to project, is transparency. Like, we don't want to hide anything. Like, we're just here to help. We're just here to be a helpful resource and improve your outcomes in your life and your business. Like, it's not that hard. So I think just being authentic to who you are and getting comfortable in your own skin, man, that is just gold. And it brings this joy and happiness that's almost indescribable, because you're not concerned about what other people think or what other people are doing. You're just focused on you, focused on what you can control and what you're doing.
All right. We got a question that came through here.
Oh, okay.
Rafal. Let's see. Hello. I have one question right now. Most of the driver don't like the price.
This is for you. This question's for you.
Load board, the loads because of the diesel, how high and short driver. But the shipper doesn't care, even if I explain to them what is a broker supposed to do. This is going to sound brutally harsh. That is the market. You have to find the solution there. It's, again, I'm assuming you're starting and building your book of business. You have a customer that's going to come to you, same day opportunities. You're going to find same day trucks. So I would recommend a way to work around this is start tracking this. There is consistency in the spot market, regardless of what anybody tells you. Start tracking the days that this freight becomes available, the lanes, break it down on a region by region basis. It's going to be the exact same price to go from Dallas to Atlanta that it is going to be from Dallas to Charlotte. It's going to be a couple pennies variance on the rate per mile overall. Start tracking this and start working ahead. Act as if you have this freight to build a carrier base up on that. Diesel fuel is part of it. Yes, fuel is a thing. It continue to be transparent with your customer, though, and talk to them about the fact that diesel prices are rising, insurance prices are rising. All you can do is provide a solution. You're gonna have customers who don't care, and they're looking for the lowest cost. That's part of it. But you just got to keep pushing through this right now. You will find customers out there. Don't let a couple of these scenarios completely throw you off base. That's my short response to that, Trey. We got to kind of wrap.
Freight coach mode, bro.
I did.
Flip the switch. Freight coach just came out right there. I love it.
Again, man, I'm doing all this to help people. Shout out to my sponsor, Bitfreighter. As always, they're huge supporters of the show. Same with Trucker Tools. Same with Emerge. They're great. Check out my new venture as well. I don't really like talking about a lot of this stuff all the time, because I don't want you guys to think that I'm trying to sell you on anything. But check it out. It's www.brokercarrier.com. Digital carrier packet. Got some other cool things that are going to be coming out here. Pay attention to us on that. Check it out. Trey, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, everybody in the comments. You guys are phenomenal. I appreciate all the support. Thank you guys. We'll be back next this one. Yeah, it will be next Thursday. Excuse me, next Thursday. Sorry, I'm going to be traveling here, so I switched the days. Brad, thank you for joining. Everybody, thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys all so much, and we'll be talking to you soon.